So what is normal thinking, and why doesn't it apply? And more importantly, why are we bringing this up now, right at the very beginning of this program? Welcome back. This segment today on normal thinking doesn't apply is without a doubt one of the most confounding topics to parents. This topic definitely falls into the category of you don't know what you don't know. And as I share with you today, you will find yourself saying things like, "Really? I had no idea." And, "Oh my, that explains so much. No wonder I didn't understand." So as we go through this material, let's use this opportunity to lighten up and have a little fun with this. And it's okay to laugh at yourself when you see yourself in some of the examples. And from that place, we can discover the very real possibilities of transformation that are available to both us and our children. Let's start with defining normal thinking. Well, normal thinking is simply that which is normal to think. Some call it common sense. For example, normal thinking tells us that if a certain behavior is causing problems in our life, we should stop that behavior if we want to avoid the problems. And we all know that this type of thinking doesn't exist with our drug-using teenagers. And to take this to the next level, we, as parents, with our normal thinking, try to interact with our teenagers' abnormal thinking, and we wonder why we can't get through to them. So then we raise the volume, thinking if we talk louder, then they will understand. We become frustrated and confused, and we ask, how can they be so stupid? Well, in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain to you how this all works. And I have a warning for you. At the end, you will no longer be able to ask the question, how can they be so stupid? And you may have to ask yourself this question, am I being stupid to expect them to think in a normal way? Okay, let's jump right into the heart of the matter. Drug use is a thinking problem, not a substance problem. Now I want you to just let that sink in. You don't have to agree with it or understand it at this point. Just let it sink in, and I'll say it again. Drug use is a thinking problem, not a substance problem. Most of you are thinking right now, no, it's a behavior problem. If they would just stop hanging out with those people and straighten up and do right, this wouldn't be a problem. So it's sort of like the proverbial chicken or egg, thinking or behavior. At one level, we could say it doesn't matter, it's a cycle. We have a thought, we take an action on that thought, the action provides an outcome, we think about the outcome, and then we take an action on that thought, and this cycle sounds like normal thinking and behaving. But here is the game changer with drug use. When we introduce chemicals into the brain, we alter the way we think. Repeatedly introducing chemicals into the brain, and we alter the way that we even can think. Why is that? Well, to explain this, I'm going to use a simple story and introduce you to some things about our brain that you probably don't know. This topic can get quickly complicated, but for our purposes, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. So imagine this simple scenario. Your teenager is offered alcohol at a party. They have a couple of drinks. They get a buzz and the party becomes more fun. The brain records alcohol equals fun. So now here's the scary part. That memory gets stored in our limbic system, our instinctual brain, our survival brain. What is the limbic system? Well, simply, it is our instinctual part of our brain. Sometimes it's referred to as our primitive brain. It is responsible for our survival. It is constantly analyzing input from our five senses, asking one question: how does this impact my survival? Should I run? Should I eat? Is this pleasant or is it painful? Now, fortunately, that's not the only part of our brain. We also have the neocortex. The good news about the neocortex is that it's responsible for higher levels of thinking, and it can override the limbic system. Now, the bad news: the limbic system is way faster than the neocortex. And in the brain of an adolescent, the neocortex is underdeveloped. And now let's go back to our story. The limbic system has recorded alcohol equals fun. There's another party. Alcohol is offered again. The limbic system quickly says, yes. And despite what consequences may have occurred after the last party, the neocortex is too slow and underdeveloped to respond with an override. And the limbic system gets another dose of reinforcement that alcohol is good. Alcohol equals fun. To complicate matters even further, every time that these extra chemicals are supplied to the brain, it impairs or slows down the development of the neocortex. Now, why did I tell you all of this? Because you think when you're interacting with your teenager that you are dealing with a normally functioning, fully developed brain. Well, guess what? You're not. That's also why it doesn't matter whether they are high or not. Over time, the brain becomes continuously under the influence of the substances. You are trying to relate to their neocortex, and meanwhile, their limbic system is in charge. Dr. Kevin McCauley went deep in studying the question about drug use that most people grapple with. Is it a disease or is it a choice? And in the documentary he produced titled Pleasure Unwoven, he takes us on a journey exploring how the brain works and what happens during drug use. And in the end, he concludes that it is a disease of choice. Said another way, the brain isn't functioning normally. Normal thinking doesn't apply. So now here's your oxygen mask moment for this segment. If you really want to help your loved one with their drug problem, you have to start thinking differently. One of the saddest parts of my job as an addiction counselor is encountering a parent who has been dealing with their child's drug use for over 10 years and is still stuck in their beliefs. If he would just straighten up, do right, get a good job, and find a nice girl to settle down with. You, in this moment, have an opportunity to change. How do you change? Well, HOW, H-O-W, is the acronym for change. Honesty, open-minded, and willing. The previous segment was get your head out of the sand. That is the first step to honesty and getting really, really clear about the problem. In this segment, I've given you your first opportunity to be open-minded. Challenge your belief systems. Become open to the possibilities. And this entire program presents you again and again with the choice of willingness. Are you going to be the parent I described a moment ago? Or are you going to choose a different path? In the next segment, we will show you how that this is not your fault. And in the meantime, remember, normal thinking doesn't apply.